Hello everyone and welcome to the Goalink Show. My name is Ben Harris. I am the founder of Goalink, a goal-setting community providing growth junkies, which is hopefully you, with weekly challenges to avoid complacency. If you're looking to grow and develop consistently, you are in the right place. These challenges are inspired by brands to bring you new ways to improve yourself. You can kick back and watch me take on these exciting and uncomfortable challenges, or you can join me. I challenge every listener to complete these weekly goals with me. Catch the content on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube at Goalink Group. The Goalink Show, this podcast, recounts experiences from the achievers of the world, but not just the success. We delve into the challenges and the struggle that we all face. How do we find the will to push through? What role do motivation, discipline, failure, and even fear play in our lives? Let's talk about the process and not just the result. We discuss this and much more in the show. Thanks for tuning in. This week, we have my friend Matt. Matt is another person that I met in Greenville. He's a person that I messaged on Instagram, got lunch with, and connected with through social media. And we randomly ran into each other one night in the street, and we just struck up a conversation. We went to yoga the next morning, had an awesome breakfast, podcast conversation, and it's really cool because this episode was just spur of the moment. Like I asked him, "Hey, let's record our conversation. Let's record it. Let's have a podcast." And we talk about our own synchronicities and allowing and surrendering to life's beautiful path. Matt's an ex-college football player. He was actually 305 pounds, and he has lost 100 pounds, so now he's down to 205. We talk about the value of rest and recovery for athletes, for everyone else too, and what athletes, or any young student or young person, should be learning, and how he got into a serious depression and how he got out. This is a big part of the show, and I hope you pay close attention to this part of the show and how listening more than talking has been a paradigm shift for him. That was the change. He started listening more. And he proves that the DM or direct messaging actually works. It's how he landed his job. And that's how we started our friendship. So without further ado, let's jump into the episode. All right, y'all. Welcome to the Goalink Show. We have a special episode. And I think I say that every time. Everyone else says that every time. But why I'm calling this one special is because this is pretty much on the fly. Usually I'm prepared and have questions ready to fire to my guests. But I have my friend Matt here.
What's up, guys?
Yo. So, and I feel like it's perfect that I don't have questions prepared because of how our friendship and relationship has come to fruition. And we'll kind of talk about just like how we ran into each other last night. And these things, just these synchronicities that are aligning. And so I think it's cool. Like, let's just have a conversation and see where it goes. But I think we're a good place to start it is, Matt, I met you in Greenville.
Yeah.
So just give a quick rundown of like who you are, how'd you get here?
Yeah. So my name's Matt McAlvin. I played college football. I'm an ex-washed up athlete, but I still consider myself capable. Still very athletic minded, really enjoy fitness, and just really studying human optimization and all that. But Greenville kind of found me. My girlfriend, she's been in Greenville, and I was back and forth with her, and things aligned, and now I'm up here, and yeah, it's been an awesome city to get to know. And then I think the people that I've been able to interact with and, meet you just from, I don't know, being willing and open and just having conversation. It's incredible once you kind of be still and just allow yourself to experience and just communicate. You can find commonality and like-mindedness in a whole lot of places that you didn't even know that I didn't know that we were going to be doing a podcast this morning.
Yeah, and here
we
are,
woke up this morning, and me and Ben, we bumped into each other last night. Yep. And Ben was like, "Hey man, like I'm going to yoga at 8 a.m. at Southern Home," and I'm like, I want to go.
Yeah.
So, and now we're sitting here. It's, we've got a beautiful Saturday ahead of us for anybody who's listening. I don't know what day you're going to be listening, but we're about to have a beautiful Saturday, and this is powerful. So thanks for having me on, Ben.
Dude, I'm stoked to have you, and I think we should start there with kind of like the theme of this thus far, and how I feel is, you said the word allow and surrendering, like just kind of watching. And that's kind of when we ran into each other last night. I feel like that's what kind of happened. We had a few instances where, just weird. We won't have to get into the details because that would take too much time. But so you've been in Greenville 5 or 6 months, right?
Yeah, 5 or 6 months. But I've been back and forth, kind of studying Greenville from afar for about a year. Morgan's my girlfriend's been up here for close to 2 years now.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So when you were studying Greenville for the first year, were you just looking for jobs? Like, do I want to move here? What were you doing during that first year?
Yeah, I was actually living at home with my parents. Life throws you some curveballs, and you end up having to sort them through and see them through. And Greenville.
And you're from Augusta.
Yeah, from Augusta, Georgia. And, it's a 2-hour drive, just some back and forth. A lot of podcasts listened to on those drives back and forth to see Morgan. And, just a lot of knowledge that I've, stumbled across. And whether the information found me, I don't know. But it landed me in a place of really getting intentional with what I want for my future and what I define as finding my happiness, and ultimately doing something and doing things that I'm passionate about has led me to Greenville and has led me to the places where I'm currently residing, digitally and in reality. So yeah, it's a cool time.
Yeah, and so you're an extremely friendly person from what I know you, from how I know you, and you have, like, you're definitely a communicator and a networker amongst the business, entrepreneur, human optimization, anyone learning fitness, like just kind of getting better in general. Yeah. You're in the middle of that here.
Yeah.
Were you like that before Greenville?
No, but I've always been curious. So I played college football. I was at my heaviest my freshman year. I remember looking down at a scale in our weight room, and I saw the numbers 305. Woo. And
how tall are you so people know?
I'm about 6'5", 6'6" on a good day, depending on the shoes that I wear. But yeah, man, I just, that's the heaviest I've ever been. In order to play the sport of football, I played offensive line, and in order to play that sport, you have to carry some weight, and you have to be able to distribute it and move with it. But
you're 30. So how much do you weigh right now?
Right now, between 205 and 210.
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah.
So you've lost 100 pounds in how long?
I don't know the exact dates. So I lost a significant amount of weight in about an 8-month period. I was working a landscape job back home, and I was also really, really getting after it in the gym, just doing some crazy things, like trying to run. Let's see how fast of a mile Matt can run today. Hopping on the treadmill and just busting out. I think the lowest I got was like a 5-minute 30-second mile. Yeah.
What? And you were 300 pounds.
I was not 300 pounds at that time. Okay, I'd already started shedding some stuff, but I was probably around 240, 250.
That's still a lot of weight to run.
Yeah.
530.
It was fun. I mean, I needed to try to find. I was always searching. When I left football, like most athletes, we come out and you don't know where's up, what's down. Like you're kind of searching for like some sort of
because all you've known is football.
Yeah, all you've known is football, and you're looking for that next adrenaline rush. And I guess at that time my mind was like, you are going to run, and you're going to run fast. And I was like, all right, let's see what this thing will do. And yeah, and unfortunately, whether or not it was diet related, it was, but my health ended up kind of taking a hit, and my testosterone ended up dropping significantly, and landed me in a place of just trying to figure things out. And that's why I was back home trying to get myself back on my feet at my parents and studying Greenville and whatnot. Okay,
so let's go post. You graduated school. You're done with football.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of say like you don't know where to go with football.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've heard you talk about the pros and cons of football and just college sports.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's dive into the positives first. What are you so grateful that you learned from football?
The brotherhood, the ability to connect with people from all backgrounds. An athlete gets to be exposed to people from all walks of life. Like, you share lockers, you shower, you eat, you do life together. And when you have a group of like 90 guys that you're doing life together for 5 years, you're all young adults and you're all growing up at the same time, and you're all experiencing college together. And it's a time in a young man's life where I feel like it's very developmental, and it kind of shapes who you're going to be for the rest of your life. And when that suddenly ends, it's like, you kind of have to just pick up and go on and figure things out. And I don't know, try to find that next football. And that's something
that you're passionate about, that just like enthralls you, and you don't have to, like, almost a constant flow state that just takes your time that you love so much. It just like takes you over.
Mm-hmm.
And what are on the flip side? So the brotherhood and that community really is a favorite. What was something that just, what's the opposite side of that?
Yeah, the
Maybe
opposite
the dark side.
I wouldn't even call it a dark side. I would just call it, anytime that your time is exhausted in one area, you're going to lose time in another area. So as an athlete, we have to allocate a whole bunch of time to preparing, and you're always in a constant state of preparation for the next season. Every season holds a certain degree of preparation. In the off season, you're preparing for the season, and then it's this perpetual cycle of preparation and then execution. And, having to suddenly be the coach of your own life afterwards, like athletes, we kind of, everybody says that we have it easy, but there's no way that an athlete would be able to manage a football team. Your head coach and the people who are up in the offices basically give you your schedule, and you're coordinated with NCAA, and you're coordinated with, the school athletic department, and you're helped. Like, that's what you've earned by earning a scholarship, is guidance and navigation through college. And you're a known entity on campus. It's not like you're just showing up and you're just a normal student. And that, to so many degrees, it would have been cool to just show up and be a normal student. But that's not what I was called to do. I was called to go to a place and give them my service, which was my body, and give them a production, which was football. And, I loved it. And all my buddies, all of our friends that I still communicate with on a weekly, daily basis, we all loved it.
Right, and you wouldn't change it. Like, you don't regret it.
We don't regret it. I mean,
even with like what it can do to your body, and like, I mean, there's pros and cons about everything.
There's, I guess it's hard to really lay regret on something that you're so in love with.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, it's it's like Lady Gaga's Bad Romance, right? It's the something that it's bad for you, but yet you didn't know it was bad for you until you started educating yourself and you started maybe looking at some of these things that are popping up in the media and some of these things that are popping up in scientific journals, and movies come out and
You're talking about concussion?
Yes, I'm talking about the movie Concussion.
Yeah.
And not to downplay but concussions are real. I don't know how many I've sustained. I don't know how many I've even had, because you just, as a football player, as a tough-minded individual, a guy, the male energy, I guess, about you don't want to look at those things, because those things, if you maybe had to sit out some plays, like it's judged as weakness.
Yeah, you don't do it. It's weakness.
You don't do it because you've earned that starting spot, and you don't want the guy behind you to get the playing time that you've earned. And it's not from a place of cockiness or overconfidence, but when you put in a lot of work, you want to be able to go out and have fun on Saturday and show the world and show your parents, show yourself that there's a reason why I got up at 4:30 on February 17th and had a really tough morning in a basketball gym with my brothers. Like, it's just not something that a normal student has to go through. But they do. Everybody has to go through their own things as they advance through college, and that's what we chose to do.
Yeah, and that's cool. And I feel like there's definitely a lot of lessons in that. And like anything, it's like, okay, this might be hurting my body and my mind.
Yeah. But when we were in it, though, we just didn't.
You don't think about.
We don't think about it. Like, dude, we were just worried about.
Winning.
Well, you're worried about winning, but you're also worried about like the normal rigors of day-to-day life. Like, you're worried about the econ test that you have, or you're worried about you're worried about what you're going to eat for lunch. Like, there's all those same worries that we all worry about on a fundamental level. But you're just doing it with athletics, and you're having to come from that mindset and that mentality.
Do you think it's possible to better balance, because there's definite value in like push to the next play, push through that pain. Like, I truly think there's value in that, because life, like, you got to push through it. You can't just I feel this little ache, I'm gonna quit. Because like in the gym working out, you're breaking down that muscle, it's painful, but you also need that rest after, like the recovery. Like, you're building the muscle after the gym. The gym is you're breaking that down. You feel the pain there. You're it's strained in there, but you're building it after. So how can we better teach athletes, or anyone really who's just straight hustling through something, and they're so blinded by the love for it? How can we better educate people of once they're out of it, or even during it?
I don't know, man. I think there's a real push right now to just me having talks with certain people, and just this whole community of athletes, football players, people who do something, such as playing a sport, finding some sort of transformative or some plan that you can almost implement, whether it's, sanctioned by the NCAA, whether it's student-led, whether it's, by your team. If you have some sort of group of seniors that, you come together and maybe form a council, and you all discuss issues that, you're all going to have to face, whether it's Life 101. I saw on LinkedIn, I think there's a Penn State grad who spent some time in the NFL, and he's back at Penn State teaching a class called Life 101.
That's
I think
cool.
I posted about it on my LinkedIn just recently, and I kind of actually covered this exact conversation. There needs to be some sort of preparation for the rest of your life, because these things end, and they're beautiful and we love them, but they go away, and you're gonna have to be able to cope and to realize that it was something you did, but you can go and you can do anything that you want to now, and having that freedom to know is I don't know, I think that's everything.
What's one topic, if you were to teach a student about Life 101, what's one thing you would tell them?
Don't take everything so serious.
So what does that mean? Like, why do you say that?
I don't know, man. Life is short, but it's very sweet if you truly just look at all the opportunity around you and calm your mind and just be still. The world is moving, and we're moving all at a very fast pace, and technology is moving faster than we can really comprehend with our human intellect. And just understanding that the suffering, the things that you're going through that are tough, it's just for a moment in time, and this too shall pass.
Yes.
And you'll be okay.
And that's for good and bad things. Whatever you perceive as good or bad.
Yeah.
Everything is temporary.
Everything's temporary.
And I heard something recently. I actually listened to our dude Aubrey Marcus this morning. It was a podcast, and one thing I loved that I've thought about before, but it hit me this morning, was the fact that I have been taught through religion, and a lot of us are as well, that we obey and we do things now to experience heaven after we die. But he's like, you can experience heaven now. Like, heaven is now. Heaven is everywhere around us, and what you seek is inside you. Like, you are heaven. Like, the people you love are heaven. Like, right now is heaven. I was like, dude, that's so true. Like, let's not wait to enjoy, or like, it's now.
Yeah. No, that's a place where I've had to really, come from. I think when you isolate yourself, and I didn't necessarily isolate myself, but I didn't have all that many people to talk to during the times that I, was at my parents' house. I mean, it just, I got really quiet, and I spent a lot of days inside my head, and I'm finally back out in the world and meeting awesome people, and it's like, wow, I'm so glad that I continued to learn while I was, going through what I had to go through. But, all these teachers and all these people, I found them. They didn't, it's wild. It's really, I don't know how to really put it in any other frame of mind other than, everything happens for a reason.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's nuts.
But do you mind if we go there about like what you went through when you're at your parents'?
Yeah, I mean, we can
delve.
Yeah, we can delve into some of those things.
Yeah. So stop me if it goes.
Yeah, you're good.
Too deep or whatever, or too uncomfortable.
No,
so
this is an impromptu podcast.
Impromptu, and growth is where the discomfort is. That's Absolutely. What I believe. So shortly after you graduate, like I know you're doing some like sales jobs, some networking jobs. Mm-hmm. And so how long, like, did it take from college graduation to your parents' house? How long was that?
From college, I went straight home.
I
went straight home after graduation, and I didn't really have a plan. I'm gonna be honest. You don't really think about what you're gonna do. Mm-hmm. Like I was like, I'll figure it out. I'll figure this thing out.
You probably said that every time that came up in your mind.
Yeah, I'll just put it on the back. I'll figure it out. And luckily, I had a friend of mine who had a landscaping business back home, and he needed some help. And I wanted to also. There was a little bit of like, I want to see what it takes to run a business at the ground. I want to be right next to the owner and the operator. I was working on my master's degree at the time.
Cool.
Luckily, playing sports, I'm so grateful for the education that I received. I think
Did you get so you graduated in business?
I graduated with a business degree in 2015, and then due to being redshirted in athletics, you gain an extra year of playing, and I had to have some curriculum, and I got into our master's program and got my MBA from Gardner Webb.
Yeah, that's awesome.
2017. Dude. So, but while I was working that landscape job, I was also in school. So I was going to school and working, and also I had taken it upon myself to really start looking at my health, and I think it was a big subconscious goal of mine that I always wanted to see what my body would look like and feel like at a smaller weight. I had been big my whole life. Always had a chubby kid demeanor. I was always kind of a little bit of a class clown, but I've always felt like I've been a guy that, I don't know, I've always had really good relationships and friendships throughout school. And, it kind of comes full circle. So
is there anything as a kid from being that bigger kid, like what baggage or self-discovery have you realized that like influenced like how you are?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because
I think,
like how you're treated, like whether from your peers or parents, like.
No, I think being the bigger kid, you're automatically, your teachers notice you, your peers notice you. When you're like, I was always in the back of the line when we would like walk through the hall. Do you remember like walking through the halls, like doing like covering your like, we used to have to walk through the halls and like cover our mouths with our fingers, because that was like what our teachers told us to do in kindergarten.
To be quiet?
Like it was like line leaders and stuff, but I was always the person in the back because it always went shortest to tallest.
But you put your finger over your mouth?
Like we would have to like walk like this.
So shush. So like so your pointing finger over your mouth just to like be quiet?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting, like what we do? Like to me, like we take that as a deeper thing though. We're telling kids to silence themselves, literally, by doing that.
And I didn't even think that deep about it until just now. But yeah, we would do that. I mean, at the time, it's like, yeah, we do need to be quiet because this is a hallway, and there are maybe some other kids that are busy taking a test, and you know,
there's reasons.
We could all cut up and we could get loud. Like there's some rambunctious aspects that we'd somehow get in trouble. But yeah, just being a bigger kid, and I was chubby too. Like I was always kind of self-conscious of like the chubby aspect. I'd wear 2 t-shirts.
Really?
Yeah, man. I'd wear 2 t-shirts. And
like an undershirt or legit?
I would wear an undershirt and then an overshirt.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is funny, but I just saw a clip from the Goonies, and I kind of witnessed like Chunk, how like in order to be their friend, like they would make him do the truffle shuffle, and I don't know, it's just funny. I think, yeah, like the chubby fat kid, like it's just fun. Like you're a funny person and you're fun to be around, and people enjoy to have somebody who's gonna pull their shirt up and do the truffle shuffle every now and then, I guess.
Have you done like any unpacking of that? Like, do you have any like insecurities from that? Like kind of like, hey, like you're the funny fat kid. Like, yeah, that's part of the personality, and it's fun.
I don't even know if I've even been claimed as the funny fat kid, but
that's good.
Yeah, like it's just, I think that's just a label that you know, as you're growing up, those are kind of things that maybe are here and there, but no, I don't.
So you didn't take it too personal?
No, I never took really anything all that personal. You know, I think I've always been a little self-conscious. I think we're all self-conscious to a degree. The biggest thing that I've been self-conscious about lately is probably losing my hair.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I know that's a big thing for men.
Yeah.
And for some women, it happens too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like for me, so my older brothers are receding and balding. And I remember, so I'm 28, and I think when they were 23, it was starting to happen for them. And I remember them both asking when I think I was like 23, 24, 25, like, hey, I wonder if Ben's going to lose his hair. I'm like, if I do, cool. Like, I'm just going to be a ripped bald guy, like I'm just going to shave my head and be ripped as hell.
Yeah.
But like for me, luckily, like I haven't. I have a head of hair.
You got a nice head of hair.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Can I have some of that hair, sir?
That's funny. But yeah, like that's still though. Like I remember that wasn't insecurity because it was like, oh shoot, like is that gonna happen? Like we all have insecurities. Okay, so rewind back to you're in your parents' house.
Yeah.
How did do you remember? Was it gradual or very quick that you got into depression when you were there?
So the depression came. Let me think. I have a tough, not a tough time, but it's almost like there was a black hole that happened, and almost like memory that was lost due to my inability to produce testosterone. It's
was that
crazy.
From depression, or why did that happen?
So the testosterone, we're not really sure why it happened. I'm sure it's got a bunch to do with diet, maybe overexertion, and then even going into the realms of TBI and even CTE. I don't know.
What are those?
So CTE is chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
Whoa.
I think it's chronic. It's that's kind of the whole gist of the movie Concussion.
Okay.
And then TBI is traumatic brain injuries.
Okay.
So yeah,
so it could have been from football.
It could have been from football.
Okay.
It could have been from diet. It could have been from overexertion
in the gym.
In the gym. I mean, I really set myself up for a whole host of possibilities.
Just because you were killing your body, basically, just by overexertion in certain ways.
And yeah, possibly. And it's just so hard to pinpoint.
Okay.
But yeah, I had to go and at the time that the depression came, it came after I had just received probably what would be to most as the best opportunity and the best start to a professional career that one could imagine, in terms of like being in an industry and like just a really cool place. I got hired on by a medical device company, and I was in the operating room, and I was helping assist neurosurgeons, ENT specialists. I was present for tumor removals, spine fusions, ENT cases, helping people with sinus relations. And
so were you in the sales of the
medical
devices?
I wasn't in the sales. I was in the support side. So I was actually helping support the sales team, and I was traveling around and basically being present for those procedures. And I was still in school at that time too. I was knocking out my MBA and transitioned from landscaping to the operating room, which is kind of a big switch. I went from running a weed eater to running a very, very high level device, and being around a whole different group of individuals and medical personnel, and doing a fair amount of traveling as well.
And the news was, so you're doing really well in this new job, and what was the best news that like could have happened?
Can you repeat that?
So you said when the depression came, it was at a peak moment in this new job, right?
Yeah, it really was. I took this job. It was a rigorous interview process for anybody who's been in that industry. What I'm talking about, and it's I moved. I had to move in order to take that job, and it really happened super organic though. Like I found an athletic service that helps position athletes. They're called career athletes, actually. Great service.
Cool.
And they helped get me to a place to have an interview with these guys, and I obviously impressed them enough in order for them to hire me. And yeah, it's just wild. It's really wild to study. But yeah, moved away from home down to South Georgia, and had a territory from Georgia to some parts of Florida, and was back and forth. But really found myself at a place of not being able to cope. And, I'd have times where I would just have random outbursts of emotion and constant thirst that couldn't be quenched. I had
is that figurative or literal?
No, it's literal. The thirst.
Like water?
My mouth, like I couldn't drink enough water.
That's just fascinating. I've never heard that.
Couldn't drink enough water. Had insomnia. Had a group of geese that were actually in a pond behind my apartment, and they'd keep me up at night. And it was hell, bro. It was a living hell. And I say all this, and when you're on your own, like down in an apartment by yourself in the middle of nowhere, your girlfriend is living what is now 6. I don't even know how far it is from Greenville to where I was living. But you're living a long distance relationship. You're in school.
You're isolated, man.
I'm isolated. I'm working a job that you have to be on your shit.
No time to relax.
No, I mean, the job was an incredible job, and I think if I was to go back and be able to be in the headspace that I'm at now, I'd have no problem.
So what do you think do you know how? Have you unpacked that or discovered that? Like how did you get into that headspace?
That headspace came from a lack of testosterone, man. I didn't know what was wrong with me, but I had felt transition before. I knew the transition from high school to college was going to be tough, but you handle it, and I just walked. And this was a different feeling altogether. Truly.
So how did you said you were listening to, a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
How long did this depression phase last for?
The depression phase, I think once you get exposed to that dark side, to that darkness, not that it follows, but you're aware of it. And I still have days.
Your days?
Yeah.
But at least not every day
it was
constantly, right?
It was constant. It was 24-hour cycles.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
It was constant fight or flight. I was in a bad spot.
So how did you begin to get out of it?
I had to ask for help. I had to ask for help.
From God, or what does that mean?
From anybody that would listen. I had to find people, find my family. I would go back home on the weekends when I could, and I would express to my mom and dad that I was not okay. And they looked at me and were like, this is a transition. Like these are things that happen. This is life. This is, you're going to be okay. And I'm like, no, guys, like
it feels worse than that.
Something's wrong. I don't know what's up, but I need to go either talk to somebody. I need to go get some blood work. I need to really figure out what's going on, because I don't feel myself. Yeah.
Wait, can you expand on that? You said you don't feel yourself.
Yeah. Didn't feel. Matt McAlvin was not operating the controls anymore.
That's so interesting.
It was.
Dude, thanks for talking about this. Like it's not easy, but it's real, and other people go through it, and you still have your days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's a practice, like
it's truly a practice, and it's when you see that side of yourself, and you witness it and you look at it and take it for what it is, and being on this other side of life now, outside of that, I don't know, man. I'm just every day. It's like I live and die every day now, and it's like,
I love that. So I've heard that before. Can you go into that? What do you mean by you live and die every day?
So I look at the depression and the black hole that I entered as I died. Like, I spent a year. I watched seasons change from my parents' house. I watched trees lose leaves from the comfort of my own childhood bathroom. And one day, I'm being dead ass. I can show you the Instagram post that I felt so moved after this shower that I took that it pushed me to like have the courage to like own all the shit that I had been enduring and like just release it.
So that's cool. So, I mean, I remember you telling me during this moment, like making a bed was a win, right? Like making your bed was like, okay, I just need to make my bed and boom, like that's my win for the day.
Yeah, making my bed might as well have been like somebody, I just won the lottery. Like I felt better. I felt like I had achieved, and my room was clean, and it's just fundamental. Like, I had to strip myself of everything, and some people would be like, well, why do you feel like you had to do that? Well, because I felt like I had to. Like, I had to get bare bones with it, and I had to build.
Does that mean just like, so what do you mean bare bones? Like, so you're stripping yourself of what?
Stripping myself down to like the fundamental aspects of life, and just returning to going outside. Like, dude, there were days that there were weeks where I wouldn't see sunlight.
Really?
I'm being
so
serious.
You're just like in your room?
Not in my room, but just I had.
So you mean it like you were?
I had extreme social paranoia, social anxiety. I still like big crowds of people. It's too much stimulus. It's a little too much for my brain at times. And I get crazy. Yeah, I get a little. I don't know. It's. These are all things. I mean, these are all things that I felt like I had to almost turn my parents' house into like a Buddhist monastery. Like,
yeah, that's really what you were doing.
I'm like, I just put my headphones on and I would pace around my house, and I'd eat good food. I mean, luckily I come from a family that my parents were able to bring me back, and I was able to do what I was able to do. And then I started feeling a little bit better. I started reading. I read a whole lot, and I started finding that I wasn't alone. There were a lot of people who feel like me, and I came to grips with the fact that it's okay to feel these things, and you're gonna be fine. You just gotta keep going. And then this voice just came along, and it sounds cliche, but it's like once again my footsteps almost feel guided these days, and cool. I just listen and just walk where I feel I'm told.
So like the voice, what do you mean? Like, did it say something specifically, or just like kind of like you'll be okay, just keep going?
Not like a you're okay, just like I just felt a presence, and I slowly started to find my way out of my parents' house and turned into their personal landscaper. I just started just beautifying things within my reach, and understanding that you can change what you want, and you can make anything beautiful again.
Dude, I love that, personal landscaper. Has anyone said that, or did you make that up?
that was on the fly.
Dude, that is huge. Dude, personal landscaper. Dude, please write a book called Personal Landscaper. A guide to trimming your inner shrub by Matt McAlvin.
Oh my God. We have a New York Times bestseller.
Dude, that is interesting. So for you, a shower kind of just for whatever reason clicked. Mm-hmm. But it was definitely a slow burn.
Oh yeah. Slow burn.
Just thinking day in and day out. Just listening. And I think, tell me if I'm right or wrong, but the big change was listening, right?
Listening more than talking.
Listening. And not necessarily in conversation, but probably talking to yourself or telling yourself things, just listening. Just being a passenger.
Ooh. Like just being a passenger to all these intellectual people that I've had the luxury of just diving into their work. Like Aubrey Marcus, Joe Rogan, Ben Greenfield, Chris Kresser, Dr. Rhonda Patrick. I can go on, Ben. Do you want me to go on? Like, I mean, these people, I feel like they're my friends. I feel like podcasting, I feel like this transmission of audio, if you truly listen to it and you listen with an open mind and you just allow yourself to make your own protocol based on what you've heard that has worked for other people, and not be so, quick to jump on a train just because somebody else has jumped on it. But, David Goggins says, be unapologetic about who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Don't sit around and like, woe is me. Like, and I got to that point and I'm like, dude, you're ready to re-enter. You're ready. Like you picked up CrossFit, you feel good, like your body is working again, you're back, and like the world needs you.
Dude, that's beautiful. Man, that was awesome. Thank you for sharing that, sir.
I don't know what happened. I just I can't thank you enough for having me on, man. This is we're gonna continue to have a powerful Saturday, and I can't wait to continue this relationship.
It's a dope ass Saturday.
This is sick.
One last thing I want to ask you about is, so you work for a company here, called Radical. It's a marketing. Would you even describe it as marketing agency? It's more than that.
It's social. So it's
social.
It's social. We're doing a whole bunch of different things and testing different strategies and helping position product, services, and even personalities. We're doing a whole lot of things and just bringing what feels like-mindedness to a place, and really just looking to help people tell their stories and be more of that the storytellers behind certain product, services, and personalities.
And then are you beyond Greenville?
Right now, we're able to help anyone nationwide.
So if anyone's listening to like, hey, I want my social to expand, like when I can tell, it's funny, like I know when it's like Radical brand, because like one, it's great, like it's good, but I'm like, yep, I know that what they're doing, but it's like really good. So if people want to expand and grow, not only how it looks, but telling the story. Yeah. But I know you guys are really involved too.
Yeah, we are very, very involved.
And you care. We
do. And, right now.
And you're genuine. I'm just going to keep going.
Thank you, Ben. We're really trying to do our best. And, I think that's all that anybody can ask for. But we think we're kind of front runners in this space of social and being able to package things in a timely fashion. We're very nimble, and moving at the speed of social media is extremely difficult. And business owners, individuals, even myself, it's very hard to keep up. And you almost have to really look at it and figure out, who knows more than you? Who knows more than you about something that you don't know, and go and either meet with them or, this is beyond what I do professionally now. This goes for everything. If you want to be better at yoga, go spend time with somebody who's very good at yoga.
Yeah.
Like, just start finding these people,
listen and learn, man.
When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Ooh, yes.
That's something that I continue to tell myself, and I just walk.
I like that. I think that's just cool advice. And tell everyone how you got this job. So first off, what's your title?
My title is brand strategist.
Ooh, brand strategist. Dude, that's legit.
Yeah.
And you didn't have marketing experience before you got this job, right? Not like any technical
any business
real life.
To business.
Yeah.
But
you've researched and
I've been kind of the street smarts. I spent a year basically studying social media on my own because I was so involved in podcasts. I was so involved in keeping up with the world on social media because I wasn't able to actually go out and be with my friends, or I didn't have the ability to go and be social because
in the world
just because of the headspace I was operating from. I needed all that time, because all that time is I'll forever look back at that time now that I'm sitting where I'm at now. And that was a still moment. And so tell everyone how you got the job, because this is like anyone can do this. That's what's cool. I got big into studying Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's got a strategy called the DM strategy. And most people would be like, well, what's that? Like, you direct message somebody and you'd be amazed at the response that you'll get if you just take the time to craft something meaningful. And I reached out via Instagram and found Ryan Alford and found what he was doing with Radical in Greenville, and I was like, this looks like something that I would really like to be a part of. And it was just like, it made sense, and I was like, let's go take a risk. Let's go do something that you've been studying, and you've been preparing for this moment.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I sat with my dad, and I was even considering maybe even starting my own podcast. Like, but I help produce a podcast, and that's enough.
Yeah, and that's so really just from a DM, but like carefully crafted. Yeah. You're not just gonna say, "Yo, what up? I want to work for you.
What up, dog?" No, it was.
I assume you still have that DM, right?
It wasn't even a DM. It was actually a Facebook message. I studied the platforms, and I was like, based on the response that I get on Instagram, I see it seems like maybe there's more chatter that's on Instagram. I don't know how I'll be able to reach this person, but I'll go to Facebook because that seems more appropriate for my ask. Seems more appropriate, and I might get somewhere. And I'll have a better ability to lay out what I wanted to ask. I had more ability, and I liked Facebook Messenger for what I was seeking to do.
That's cool, dude. So one quick tip from a brand strategist and what you've learned in the past 5 months. What's one thing that
Put me on the spot here.
You can think. I'll keep talking just because you know what I'm going to ask. So one tip, so whether it's for an entrepreneur, anyone just trying to just try to better someone's day with whatever it is through social media, they're trying to make an impact in big or small ways. What's one thing they can just do that? Or grow their audience, just whatever they're trying to do.
Yeah.
How can they make the impact they want to make?
Own what you put your name behind. You're a walking, talking, digital representation of yourself in reality. And the world we're going to continue moving down these roads, and social media is going to continue to develop. And, based on what we just saw in New Zealand, based on those terrorist attacks. And, we've been in discussions with some local news stations, and have even, I think there's some people I've heard these ideas from others. These ideas are not my own, but coming up with a rating system for social media. And I think that's a real thing that's probably on the way, to make sure that people, respect these communities that are being built, and understanding the true power that these things have, because you have the ability to go live on your on your phone. Like, you have the ability to go live and do something that news stations, we've all seen the news trucks that have the satellites and the big the big setups and stuff, but you're your own media company, and you're your own.
Yeah, you don't need that big truck, man. You got your phone.
Yeah, and it's just it's crazy to study. But yeah, just understand that you are who you are, and digitally or in real life, it's just being aware, and displaying self-awareness on your platforms, and understanding how to gear your message to each platform is that's probably my best tip that I could give.
Cool. Thank you, sir. So every show I do something that's called Scroll My Soul. Uh-oh. So what that means is, I take notes on my phone, whether it's from podcasts, conversations, anything, book, whatever, any inspiration I get. I have a long freaking list of stuff on my phone. So I randomly scroll through, and I wrote this down this morning, and I think it's perfect for us for this conversation we just had. So I'm going to tell you I'm going to read it, and then I just want to know what thought comes to mind, how you feel about it, any experiences. Just tell me how it resonates with you.
Okay.
Pain is unavoidable. Suffering is not. Suffering comes from the resistance of pain. Pain is okay. It will happen.
Yeah, dude, suffering isn't everything. It's the fabric of what I feel like pushes us to become more.
Yeah, the pain pushes us to become more.
You strain to gain. That was the biggest thing from football.
Strain to gain.
Strain to gain. Like, you've got to fight pressure with pressure. There's all these parallels that other things can, you can draw from. And suffering isn't everything, but it's all about how you use that suffering as fuel in order to saddle up and go get what you want.
Yeah, and I think, just like pain will happen.
Yeah.
But from suffering is your choice. Just rewind and listen back to that, because it's true.
Yeah.
But okay, thank you, sir. Do you have any last tips or advice or anything you want to say to the world?
To the world.
To the world.
That's a big ask.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Just love each other, truly. Life.
That's cool. I like that one.
Yeah, man. It's so cliche, and it's so washed out in this world that we
love
live
yourself,
in.
man.
Love yourself. Yeah. Take the time that you need, because at the end of the day, who's going to do it but you?
Dude, so true.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay. Well, Matt, thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
I might have to. I don't know. People might need tissues when they're listening to this whole thing.
Are you serious?
Anyway.
Don't cry, people. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. Awesome. We had an awesome Saturday.
We really did.
From yoga, coffee and tea, podcast. Now we're going to go own the day. I encourage everyone to own your day. Thank you. We're out.
Peace.
Boom. I hope you all enjoyed that wonderful interview with Matt. And as you can tell, I like to do one take, and I like to show that the process isn't perfect, even when recording and putting on an episode. Anyway, this week's challenge is inspired by Brené Brown and The Call to Courage. The Call to Courage is Brené's Netflix special that she recently released. So the first part of the challenge is to watch that special. Second is to dare to be vulnerable. And why we're being vulnerable is because vulnerability is often misconceived and misunderstood as a weakness and not a strength. But watch this Netflix special so you can understand why being vulnerable is so powerful and it is a strength. So our challenge is a vulnerability challenge this week. Here are a few ideas. It could be an apology to someone you've been holding a grudge toward. You could journal to yourself about your insecurities. You don't have to talk to somebody if you're not ready for that, but journal to yourself. Have that conversation with yourself. You could post a video talking about your personal challenges. Put it out there. Live your truth. That's one thing that I've been doing, like through tough times, that really helps me, is talking about it to people and putting it out there, because you never know what strength or what power that's going to give someone else. Or just lead any type of difficult conversation. Any conversation you've been afraid to have, go have it. Be vulnerable, because vulnerability is strength and not weakness. And there are a few ways you can report back once you complete this challenge. You can post on Facebook or Instagram using hashtag Goalink Challenge, tag us in your stories, or use the Goalink hotline. The hotline is designed for those who want to remain anonymous or don't have social media, but still desire a form of accountability. So to use this hotline, once you complete the challenge, call 385-626-0525 and follow the instructions. Follow us at Goalink Group. My name is Ben, and I truly love you. Have an awesome week, and this is The Goalink Show.